Wisdom will come, my friend.
For thousands of years, the name Socrates has been linked to a single, powerful idea: know yourself. A simple phrase, but one that shaped the foundation of Western philosophy. Socrates believed that understanding oneself was the beginning of all wisdom, and without it, a person could not truly live well. But what did it mean to know oneself? To Socrates, it was not about discovering hidden talents or creating personal identity. It was something deeper. An honest examination of the mind, the beliefs, and the choices that shape a person's life. In ancient Athens, Socrates walked the streets engaging people in conversation. He asked questions that seemed simple. What is courage? What is justice? What is goodness? But beneath those questions was a larger purpose. He wanted people to see the assumptions they carried without noticing. He believed humans often act on borrowed opinions. Ideas taken from society, tradition, or hearsay, instead of discovering what they truly think. This is why he famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. To him, a life lived without reflection becomes a life guided by habits rather than understanding. A person may chase success without knowing what success means to them. They may follow desires that do not bring fulfillment. They may react to life instead of choosing how to live it. Socrates saw this clearly, and he believed the cure was self-knowledge. To know oneself, he insisted, a person must be willing to question everything. Not to doubt endlessly, but to uncover truth beneath layers of assumptions. He believed every human being holds beliefs that appear solid but collapse when examined closely. The wise person looks inward, not to find perfection, but to understand their own thoughts, motives, and limits. Socrates used a method now known as the Socratic dialogue. He asked questions not to win arguments but to reveal the gaps in understanding. Each question peeled back another layer of confusion. He believed that when people confront their own contradictions, they grow in clarity. This approach was radical for its time. Most thinkers of his era made grand claims about the universe. Socrates, however, focused on the individual. He believed a person must understand their own mind before trying to understand anything else. He thought it was impossible to build a meaningful life without knowing who one truly is. Yet he was not harsh or judgmental. Socrates believed every human being is capable of wisdom. He believed people do wrong not because they choose evil, but because they do not understand themselves well enough to choose differently. To him, knowledge and virtue were connected. When people know themselves, they make better choices, not out of fear or obligation, but out of genuine understanding. In his conversations, Socrates often guided people toward admitting they did not know as much as they thought. This was not humiliation. It was liberation. He believed that realizing one's ignorance was the first step toward wisdom. In his eyes, there was nothing shameful about not knowing. The only danger was pretending to know more than one truly does. This is why Socrates described himself as wise only in one sense. He knew that he knew nothing. To modern ears, this may sound contradictory, even playful. But for Socrates, it was serious. He had discovered that certainty closes the mind, while humility opens it. Knowing oneself begins with that humility. But Socrates did not stop at intellectual humility. He believed knowing oneself meant understanding the forces that guide one's actions. Desires, fears, ambitions, values, and emotions. He saw that people often believe they act rationally, yet are moved by impulses they barely recognize. By questioning these inner forces, a person begins to see the true nature of their choices. For Socrates, self-knowledge was the key to living ethically. He believed a person cannot act with integrity if they do not understand what they believe, what they value, and what they truly want. He believed self-knowledge brings alignment, the harmony between thought, action, and intention. When a person knows themselves, they stop living according to the expectations of others. They stop chasing goals that bring no fulfillment. They stop hiding from uncomfortable truths. Instead, they gain clarity, and with clarity comes freedom. One of Socrates' most powerful insights was that wisdom is a lifelong practice. Self-knowledge is not something a person achieves once and for all. It grows and changes as life unfolds. Every transition, every challenge, every experience reveals something new. To him, wisdom was not a destination but a journey, a continuous dialogue between a person and their own mind. Socrates lived this philosophy until the end. When he was put on trial, he was given the chance to save himself by abandoning his principles. But he refused. He chose truth over comfort, integrity over safety. Even in the face of death, he examined his choices carefully, and acted according to what he believed was right. His life became his final argument. Wisdom is not about knowledge. It is about understanding oneself deeply enough to live with conviction. Today, the world is filled with information. People have access to more ideas, opinions, and voices than ever before. Yet Socrates' message remains relevant. Knowing oneself has never been more important. Without self-understanding, people are pulled in every direction by trends, by pressure, by fear, by comparison. But when a person knows themselves, they move with purpose, guided by their own clarity. Socrates reminds us that wisdom begins inward. It begins with honest reflection, with noticing one's thoughts, with questioning one's beliefs, and with recognizing that the search for truth starts within the mind of the seeker. Knowing oneself does not require isolation or philosophy books. It begins with simple acts, pausing before reacting, asking why one feels a certain way, examining motivations, and being willing to change when insight appears. Over time, these small acts build a deeper understanding. They create a sense of alignment between values and actions, between beliefs and behavior, between the outer life and the inner one. And that alignment creates peace. For Socrates, this peace was the heart of wisdom. Not passive calm, but the steady confidence that comes from understanding oneself. The knowledge that one's actions arise from clarity, not confusion. That one's choices reflect truth, not impulse. And that one's life is guided by a mind that is awake, curious, and honest. Across the centuries, his voice still echoes. Know yourself. Not as a command, but as an invitation. An invitation to explore the inner world, to question assumptions, and to grow toward greater clarity. In the end, Socrates leaves a simple message. The greatest journey a person can take is the journey inward. The most important truth they can discover is the truth about themselves. And the greatest wisdom they can develop begins not with answers but with questions.